We're still not training at the moment, but hopefully soon that'll happen. And how's your training going? Your training's going good, bad, medium, low? It's going good. It's always going really good, isn't it? Okay, I usually just blabber until I get my tech stuff all set up. And now that it's all set up, I can blabber about more interesting things. Send me over any questions you have. So what questions do you have in regards to yoga for BJJ, in regards, well, yeah, and then even in your wrestling, I've had some people asking me, some stretches for different types of guards or different types of techniques to make them even better. So throw over any questions you have about those and let me know where you are in the world and what belt you are. It's always really cool to talk to people from everywhere around the world. I'm pretty excited to have released a new program. It's actually a core program because, I'm going to talk about my stuff and interrupt myself as I chat to you guys. So, Diaries of a Kitchen Idiot. What a great name. You're in Virginia, but moving to Illinois. White belt, restarted after 2 decades off, and then injured enough times since then where I'm currently unable to train. Shoot, hey, you're a white belt, and just so you're moving. I want to almost make a joke and say maybe when you move to your new school, you'll be able to have like less injuries. Like, does everyone really wrestle really hard, or are you not warming up properly, or are you just training a lot or too much? So tell me a bit more about that, because that's a lot of injuries. Maybe you need to tell me a bit more about that. John is in Newfoundland, Canada, another Canadian. Awesome. Hello, fellow Canadian. So the core program that I released is, are you training, John, where you are in Canada? Is everything open? Here's not really open. Oh yeah, so you pulled a groin muscle. I know, that's so common, hey? Okay, let me grab my belt. Let me give you a stretch for the groin. I'm gonna give you a few stretches, okay? Oh yeah, you guys are training, cool. Yeah, I'm in BC, so we're probably, hopefully, not too far behind. You're supposed to open in a few weeks. So a couple stretches for that groin. Okay, try both of these. Obviously, if it hurts or it's too much, don't do it. Start with movement. I'm curious about this. Start with movement. So feet on the ground, windshield wipers, really gently, internally and externally rotating each hip, and see how that feels. See how that does. Just bringing movement into the hips. And if you don't feel, like if you kind of feel it in the groin, okay, good. If this is like really bothering your groin, then don't do it. Number 1, windshield wipers. Number 2, grab that jiu-jitsu belt, loop it around the ball of the foot, really, really gently. Like the leg doesn't have to be straight. It can be bent if you need it to. So I have it looped around my right foot. Bring the belt out to the right side, and you'll find a stretch through the inside of the groin, the inside of the glute. And if this feels good, but if it's a bit too much with the pressure of gravity, you can also put a blanket down or put pillows down or something like that and rest it on the blanket or pillows. So try that. And it's so common for just through the inside of the legs become incredibly tight, because how often do we actually stretch this, right? Try windshield wipers, try this, and then the last one you can try is just feet together and leaning forward. So you can try that too. And my guess is if the inside of the legs are tight, probably the outside legs are super tight too. So if the outside legs are super tight, move into what's called a 90-90 stretch. 90-degree angle with each of the legs. I'm trying to get it so you can see. And turn the torso. So each hand is on either side of the knee, and just lower the chest, and you'll feel a stretch to the outside of the hip. So I actually want you to stretch the outside of the hips too. So inside of the hips, the ones I showed you, and then also the outside of the hips. So try those. Try those. Okay, John, let me know how it goes. So I got another note here. Yeah, multiple shoulder dislocations on both sides. This is back Diaries of a Kitchen Idiot. What a great name. Over 25 years, herniated disc plus minor injuries here and there from rolling with spazzy white belts don't control their falling body weight. Yeah, I get it. I kind of, with my white belts in my academy, I choose who I wrestle with and I keep it really controlled. I'll do positional wrestling from my guard, like really controlled, just until they learn how to, because it's a very different thing to have to control the body in jiu-jitsu. And it's a lot of body awareness that we don't have, that we don't, like nowhere in our lives really do you need that body awareness that we need in jiu-jitsu, with controlling the weight, the movement, all that. So it's understandable that they don't have that yet. So I'll do positional training with the white belts. Yeah. Have you tried some of the yoga and the slow stretches? Is that why you're here? Maybe you are. You're already doing it. That's all I can think. That helps, like with the herniated disc too. Sebastian had that in his back, and it actually really helped to heal him. Which leads me to, so it keeps sending your questions over. I always interrupt myself. Yeah, so John, belt in the foot, using gravity hurts most to do now, but I have some stretches to try. Yeah, try those. And if gravity's too much, like I said, put some blankets down or pillows down. You might have to have a little mountain of blankets, or lean, or if the couch is there, just lean the leg. This is your leg, this is your new leg. Just lean it on the couch, right? This is your foot, my finger is your foot. Just lean it on the couch. So just try that really, really gently. And then, especially when your groin is better, you need to do those so that your groin doesn't get pulled again. And I would recommend even like all the hip stretches. So try Yoga for Rocks Hip Week, because if one thing's getting pulled, it probably means that there's a lot of stuff that's tight and going on. And I think you'll feel like $1 million when you're resting. You'll feel pretty good once that's all taken care of. That's why I'm here. Never tried this, but want to heal and move forward. You know what? I want you to try. We actually have a bunch of, so Diaries of a Kitchen Idiot. I just laugh. It's such a great name. I want you to try. We have some programs. The one I want you to try. Where's a herniated disc? Is it lower back, upper back? Where is it? Because I want you to try. I said that like 7 times. Let's say make it 8 times. I want you to try. We have a couple programs, but one is for back pain. So one is it's like 5 days, and I actually did this because I had, after my hip surgery, a lot of back pain. And it's just some really great, simple exercise Sebastian did after some of his favorite ones after his herniated disc. And honestly, some of them are just like as simple as cat-cow. And I don't have a very flexible spine. I'm working on it, but it's not very flexible. So when I arch my spine towards the ground, that's called cow. Round it up towards the ceiling, that's called cat. So you just move through cat-cow. So very, very simple exercises. And he does a few more that really bring blood flow and even some strength to the back of the body. And something I really appreciated with the yoga and stretching is how it strengthens stuff that's commonly left behind, like lower back, middle back, upper back. We don't strengthen that very often. And same with the shoulders. Like I wouldn't do too much crazy stuff with the shoulders yet, like down dog and stuff like that. But when you're gradually stretching, it actually strengthens all the ligaments and connective tissues in the shoulders and throughout the entire body. So I think it's really great. So what is it called? It's a really hilarious name that we have. It's like Bring Back Control Back Week. So Back in Control, that's it. So Back in Control, and it's like 5 days for the back. So DM us and we'll send it to you, and let me know how it goes, right? Because you got us to support you and chat to you and talk to you about all that. Another one that you can try too that might feel really, really nice. Actually, this is like one of the all-time favorites, is a spinal twist. So I'm laying on the ground, feet are on the ground, knees are up. Post the feet, lift the hips, a little mini bridge, shift the hips towards the left, put them on the ground. So now I'm off center. Lift the knees, bring them to the right. So the hips go a little bit to the left, the knees go to the right. And you'll find a really nice stretch through the back. I like to grab my legs, the right hand, and then the left arm. It's getting confusing, lots left and right. The other hand can go out behind you. So this is like a really nice one that you can try. No stress on the arms, no stress on the shoulders, and it should feel really good. And one of the reasons why the lower back gets so sore is you think if the core isn't strong in the front and the back core, then that means that the spine, the spine is holding everything up here, all the organs, it's holding the rib cage, it's holding, the head, it's holding all this stuff. So the lower back, it's just that spine twists and moves. It's a lot of pressure on it. And that's why if the core and lower back aren't strong, that's why back pain is so common. Keep saying over your questions, comments. Oh, tight hamstrings, Victor. Tight hamstrings. I know. All right, let's talk about these tight hamstrings. It's so common. Tight hamstrings. Grab your jiu-jitsu belt. This is one of my all-time favorite ones. Actually, I'm going to show you two. The first one is, I'm going to show you three. So the first one, tight hamstrings. Grab your belt. Just extend a leg out. Really simple. But instead of kind of sitting here and kind of bouncing and being pointless, grab the jiu-jitsu belt and loop it around the ball of the foot. I like to sit tall, go to face the foot, and just sit here. So that's a nice stretch. You can do this while you're watching TV, while you're reading. And I do have, if you go under the slow stretch, I have the slow stretch category. I got a lot of really great stretches to release, not just the hamstrings, but lower back too, because they are quite connected. So that's number one, sitting with the belt. Number two is from the hands and knees. Bring the left foot to the outside of the left hand and walk the hands back to straighten or almost straighten that front leg. So we're stretching the back of the hamstring, walking the hands forward to stretch actually the back hip. So this is a really nice dynamic stretch with movement, because sometimes the movement is nice. So try those two. And my very most favorite one is on my back. Loop this around the ball of the foot. And the reason why I loop it around the ball of the foot is that allows the hamstring to join the party. This is one of my favorites. Just chill. Gently bend and extend the leg. If your hamstrings are really tight, it won't feel good to have the leg straight. So you don't have to have it straight. Just extend it as much as you can. And then over time, you'll eventually be able to have it straight. And if you can have it straight, bring the foot more towards the head. So there's some really great ones. Try those out. And chances are, if those hamstrings are really tight, it probably means that your lower back is tight and your hips might be tight too. One of my favorite ones in yoga, actually Sebastian did a hamstring. In his hamstring classes, he does 3 exercises. That's it. The first one is a forward fold. So you just sit, hands loop underneath the legs, and just rest the head and stay here 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and slowly the heels start to drop and everything rolls forward. So that releases the back, and then you do the hamstring ones that I just showed you of looping the belt around the ball of the foot and extending up. I feel like I need to do my other leg now. I feel like I'm off balance. So in the Yoga for Exhausted, you'll find some hamstring videos and also hamstring week. So that's a really good one too. Keep sending over questions. That's why I'm here, and really good questions for today. And I was talking about the flows that I just released. So I'll interrupt myself when you guys have questions. So the flows I've released, there are 5 of them, and they are each 20 minutes long. So instead of just doing core exercises or crunches, we move through an entire sequence that targets the core and targets it in different ways. So day 1 is our traditional front of the core plank, side planks, but we move it into a flow to get the blood flowing. And then the next day we move into something you don't think about very often, but diagonal strength. So you move in opposite shoulder and opposite hip. And the reason why that's really important to strengthen that across, that diagonal strength, is it connects the entire core and makes everything work better. And if you think about our scissor sweeps or bump sweeps, that's exactly what it is, diagonal strength. And one of the other ones is incredibly important is we also move through strengthening the back. Strengthening the back is honestly such a pain in the ass. Like it's just, I don't like strengthening the back. It's such a pain in the ass, but it's so important. And man, it feels so good. Because if you don't, then that's going to cause a lot of problems down the road. So that's some really cool stuff with the core week that I released. And you'll see that, imagine this, under core week. And I tagged it in my 10 for 30. So try those out because it's really nice to be able to hit the yoga mat for 20 minutes. And all of this will make the jiu-jitsu so much better. I know because I've experienced that. So try that, just a great workout, 20 minutes, and we move, we flow, and we breathe. Each day has a concept that'll help jiu-jitsu. One of my favorite concepts that we move through is learning how to breathe when it's hard to breathe, and that is jiu-jitsu. So during the class, it's such a hard class. We're working on diagonal strength. We're doing some crazy stuff and plank and down dog, and being in that space where it's hard to breathe, but having the ability to regulate the breath. It's really, really cool. Really hard. But the thing is, if I'm in that space, when I'm in crazy wrestles and crazy scrambles on jiu-jitsu mat, I'm used to being there and regulating the breath when it's hard to breathe. And so that's a really cool one. The next one, another one that we look at is focus, is really focusing on how the body feels and what it's doing, because that focus is important. I call it the focus muscle, is important to maintain and keep, especially when we're in like a massive open mat and you've hit like the second hour, or in a tournament and I've hit the 10th match of the day. Like that stuff it's sometimes hard to focus. And so that's when it becomes incredibly important. And deeper layers of focus, of not just focusing on like what I'm doing, but focusing on like the layers of like feeling what I'm feeling, on what I'm doing next, on how the opponent's moving. So there's like, you know, if you really think about jiu-jitsu, has so much to it. It's absolutely incredible. But now that I have trained jiu-jitsu actually since 2005, I don't know how people wouldn't train it, to be honest. I don't know how people wouldn't train it, like realizing what your body is capable of doing and what your mind is capable of doing. It's really cool. Joel, I helped you with your back 2 weeks ago. I'm so glad. What stretch? Man, you know what? It's like 10 times better thanks to your, thanks to the pump. I'm so glad. Good. I'm so glad. I gave you a couple stretches, didn't I? But I think the one that I gave you, if I remember, is the knees up and then across over, the spine stretch. You know, I can't say the spine stretch. Was it this one I gave you, Joel? Was it that one? Or was it this one? I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. Number 2, yeah. Oh, such a great stretch. You know what, Joel? I'm so glad I helped you out. I got to tell everyone about this stretch. It's my new all-time favorite stretch. Boom. So post the feet on the ground, hips up, move them just to the left a little bit, through off center. Opposite ankle to opposite knee. Bring the knee pretty much above the hip, lower to the right side. Just grab the ankle. And you just chill out and relax here. So what's nice about this is it's a spinal twist. That's what I was trying to say before. A spinal twist, but also stretching the outside of the hip. And if the outside of the hip is tight, it pulls everything. So really glad, Joel. Really glad it helped you out. Both. Yeah. Oh, one of my all-time favorite stretches. I added that, actually, I was just talking about my core program, and I added that in there. Almost, I think it's like 2 or 3 days, quite a few days, just because it feels so good. If you think about it, when we're always standing, especially on one leg, and in jiu-jitsu, posting in to defend the De La Hiva, or standing to pass the guard, or standing guard break, it's actually the outside of those legs that stabilize. And so they get really tight, and we don't strengthen outside the legs very often because it's not something we think about doing. So they tend to get tight. So it's really important to stretch them. So I'm really, really glad that helped you. What did I have? I think I had a question here. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, we're good. We're good, we're good. Glad those helped you out. Okay, any more questions from everybody? Or I think that might wrap us up for our Saturday morning live. Any more questions about anything? All right, super fun to be chatting with everybody. And yeah, everyone try those stretches just like Joel did and let me know how they go. And I'll be here next week. Well, I guess not the same day because it'll be a week from now, but same time, all that jazz. Okay, see everyone.